I think, and they play inside, so he get 8 games, actually 9 games if you really want to say it, because they got to go on the road to Detroit, but that's also an inside game as well. He gets 9 games, so over half the season he get to play indoors versus where he was in Washington and he was playing outdoors. 8 games in Washington, and we know he was playing in New York and Philadelphia, so that's 10 games, at least 10 games that he had outside. So to me, I think Minnesota would be a team that he would look at, and I think Minnesota would be willing to do that because they don't have to give up any draft picks like they did before with Sam Bradford. So that is my reasoning. That is how I think, they would go as far as like landing spots. Number 3 would be Arizona. Number 2 would be the Cleveland Browns. And number 1, the Minnesota Vikings. And then all those other players like Sam Bradford and Case Keenum, they will go to other teams, because it's going to be some openings out there. Like I said, Jets, Browns, and all that stuff. Somebody's going to want to pick up some of those quarterbacks. But I think quarterback for Minnesota Vikings could be Kirk Cousins. Mocha Bell is in the chat room talking about the Heat lost by 2. So she said she was watching the game. So she's probably a little hurt by that, but it is all right. Mocha Bella, Mac Farrell said he was speaking with Big L. Big L, I'm not advocating the Browns drafting a quarterback again, but you and I know they will. They are that clueless as an organization. So you got to give John Dorsey and them, a chance. It's a new class, in there. I know Hugh Jackson is still there, Mac Farrell, but if they are clueless, which, I mean, you make a great point. I mean, they've had quite a few people come through there, and it has remained clueless, but you always got to get a new person, at least 1 year. You got to see what they do. And with the situation that they got, all the money that they got, all the draft picks they got, you got to think like you can't possibly blow this, man. Could you? Could you blow it? I hope not. Cleveland fans deserves better than that. But we'll watch. And if they do, they will probably be on the Big L Awards. But so we've talked about, and I ain't even going to Pat Mahomes. I'm sorry, with that whole Alex Smith trade, but we talked about the Blake Griffin trade. We talked about the Alex Smith trade, and we've talked about other trades going on, in the past, and then we talked about free agency. Guys leaving teams like Kevin Durant to go to another team, and all this stuff. So it begs the question of, is there any loyalty in sports? Or maybe is loyalty in sports a double standard? That's probably the better question. We all see, teams like Blake Griffin. They paraded him around, basically saying, this is our guy. They went after him hard in free agency. They wanted him to stay there. And then a few months later, they trade. And their story changed, and they say, hey, we need to do what was best for the franchise. And I don't think no one has just really, LeBron said it was unfortunate, but he hasn't necessarily just went in, and I haven't really heard of anyone just going in on the Clippers for trading Blake Griffin. But then on the flip side, you have a guy like KD, and I know everyone's going to have, their thoughts, and they're like, oh, he's soft, he took the easy way route. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about he had the option to do what was best for himself, and he chose to go to another team. Regardless if it was easier for him or if it was, he was scared, whatever. Throw that out the window at this point. But he was afforded the opportunity to choose where he wanted to go, and he did. And he got crucified for it. LeBron did the same thing. He got crucified for it. But it was in his best interest to go to the Miami Heat. We've seen other teams take players and trade them away. I mean, we've seen Jerry Krause didn't want to keep the Bulls together after they had just won their second three-peat. Now, that might be the only time that I can remember where someone was criticizing, a franchise. Because it was just like, what are you doing? Wait a minute. What do you mean? They just won 3 championships. You're not going to keep the team together. I think that loyalty, has went out the door. And I do think there is a double standard. I think I myself thank guys like Tobias Harris and Avery Bradley and Boban Marjovic, for being Pistons. Hey, you didn't choose, to get traded. They chose to trade you. I appreciate, what you did for the organization. I think people forget that, man. But I'm just wondering, is there a double standard? I think there is. And I just think, hey, when someone makes a choice, they're making a business choice. I just know if someone's at their job and they could be there 15 years and that job gets rid of them, they're making a decision. But if it's the other way around, they're working 15 years and then someone comes along and they say, hey, we're going to pay you twice as much. Then that person's making the best decision for themselves. Even if it's against the competition. In some places you can't do that, but it is what it is. You got that option. If you got that option, you can take it. So people have left. And I mean, when Grant Hill left and he went to Orlando, yes, I was upset. I was upset that he left, but I understood. This dude got that. I mean, this is not against the law, So I just put it all in the business category and let it work itself out. But yes, I do think they do offer double standards. I think a lot of franchises get away, with moving people around, and they use the line "what's best for the franchise," to get off from underneath contracts from mistakes that they made, where they overpaid people or something like that, or they had someone come in and they made a mistake, and now they're trying to get rid of it because they don't want to be blamed for it anymore. Or they don't want it looming and all this stuff. So, and I'm not absolving players. Players, do it too. But I do think there's double standards, on it. Big L is in the building. He talking about, the Pistons got, soft Blake, good luck, Well, Big L, if he was in here earlier, you would have heard what I said. We'll take that risk. It's not like we had some other option that was better. Nobody was giving us LeBron. Nobody was giving us Paul George or anything like that. We had to make some move. We did. We're going to see what happened, and we'll roll with it. And whatever happens, happens at that point. But Blake Griffin, Willis Reed, Bryce Johnson, welcome to the Detroit Pistons. And Tiffany Sports and Hills will probably be hanging out with them, when she goes to Detroit, and they'll all roll back to the after party at Tiffany Sports and Hills house. I'm telling you, it's an after party after the Super Bowl party. So trust me, everybody in here is going to get an invite. So check your Facebook, check your emails, whatever it is. If I got your phone number, and all that stuff, you will get an invite to the after party to the Super Bowl party. Now, we have gotten through all our topics for tonight. We're going to end this thing with Mocha Bella's favorite portion of the show. And this is the Big L Award. Yes. And tonight's Big L Award recipient, and if I was talking about it earlier. So for those people that don't know what the Big L Award is, it's basically someone who's acting like a loser at a point in their life. Not that they are a loser, but they're just acting loser. I gotten the Big L Award. Lopan's gotten the Big L Award. A lot of people have gotten Big L Awards. So sometimes we do some Big L, stuff. And it's no different, than this time too. So if you haven't heard, Tom Brady, that Tom Brady, for the New England Patriots, he went on a radio show, which is WEEI, and he goes on the show. I think he's been on here, every week, or he frequents the show to speak with them. Now, you're thinking like, okay, that's not being a loser. No, it's not. Now I'm about to get and tell you what it is about. So there is a radio host for WEEI, and his name is Alex Reimer. Alex Reimer is on the show, and they're talking with Tom Brady about his documentary titled Tom versus Time. So if you don't know what this is about, it's basically about, Tom Brady trying to beat Father Time and play. Remember, he said he wants to play until he's 45 years old and all this stuff. And it shows him doing all this stuff, that he tried to, beat Time. But it also shows his family and everything. So you get a little bit of an inside look at Brady, with his wife, with his kids and all this stuff. So they are talking about Brady and these latter stages of his quarterback career, and it involves his family in it. So this guy Alex Reimer decides, I don't know why he decided to do this, but he decides to make the comment to Tom Brady, and say about Tom Brady's daughter, that, and these are his words, he called Tom Brady's daughter, and I quote, an annoying little peasant. Unquote. I'm going to go back. An annoying little peasant. So Brady cut the interview short, and he was defending his daughter, saying no child deserved, such treatment. And he is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Some of these folks get tied up into themselves and just trying to get as many ratings as possible, try to be as controversial as possible, or try and do something that they think would catapult themselves or just get beyond themselves and get caught up in a moment. And that is what this brother did. Now, caught up in a moment, maybe. I shouldn't say caught up in a moment, but heading to Big L Town, that's exactly what he was doing. You don't go and talk about nobody's kid. I'm sorry, let me go back. You don't go and talk about nobody's baby to their face. You might have well had said that she's ugly. At this point, you're going to call her a peasant? A peasant? And then you just think that's supposed to roll off Tom Brady's back, like this is a cornerback in his ear or anything like that. This is his family, and he was probably lucky that he was on the phone talking to them, because Tom Brady probably would have turned green and turned into the Incredible Hulk and would have had to get in this dude's face. So I'm just saying, if you can't just go and talk about just quote unquote regular folks' kids, why do you think you're going to talk about a guy that is considered one of the franchise faces of the NFL and one of the most, probably one of the biggest celebrities in the United States, and you're just going to talk about their kid right in front of their face? their face over the phone, but right over the phone in their face. And everything is supposed to be good. Everything is supposed to be, just kosher. Everything's supposed to be, we were just joking. No, now that Tom Brady has cut, the interview short, now the station is probably worried, what's going to happen. Now Alex Reiner has been suspended. Hopefully he doesn't get fired. I'm not advocating for him to get fired because he made a mistake, a stupid mistake, but he made a mistake. And I'm not saying